Hello, everyone. This is Steve Siebold, and welcome to our live event today on this fantastic Saturday weekend here. Today is going to be about really for people who want to become fee-paid professional speakers, or for people that want to make more money in fee-paid professional speaking. I will tell you, we just did some statistics with AI and did a bunch of research over the last couple of weeks, and the speaking business is hotter than ever, especially in the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, and Germany. It's hotter than ever. The fees are higher than ever. The need is greater than ever. So if you're looking at this business, either as a full-time business or as a part-time business, you came to the right place, especially if you're an expert, if you have world-class expertise in something that solves problems, okay? All right, so here's one of the things that holds speakers back, new speakers especially, when they enter the business. And I can tell you from experience, back in 1996, a long time ago, almost 30 years ago when I entered this business, I came out of the first 3 months just not knowing, up from down. I mean, I got so many different opinions on how this business actually works and how the money flows and all these different things. I was just totally confused. I went to National Speakers Association. I went to the Florida Speakers Association. I was even more confused by different people's opinions on these things. And then I got the break of a lifetime. I met the father of professional speaking, the first president of National Speakers Association, the very first president, Bill Gove. He was 85 years old, and he was the patriarch of this industry. And Bill set me straight. He set me straight. I went to his speech workshop, Bill Gove's speech workshop, most famous, most successful professional keynote speaking workshop in the history of the industry to this day. And he set me straight. He said, Steve, if you keep doing what you're doing, if you keep listening to all these different people at NSA and FSA and all these different organizations, you won't make it. He goes, listen to me. I know where all the bodies are buried. He said, I know all the backstories on every hero speaker out there. I know how they really made their money, not the way they say they made their money. And believe me, these two things do not always jive. Okay, so today I want to really give you the gift that Bill Gove gave me 29 years ago, almost 30 years ago now, and that's the myths. What are the myths of the speaking business? That way, when this hole appears in front of you as you walk down this path, you won't fall in. That was the only reason I became a successful speaker and eventually a seven-figure speaker for 25 plus years, because Bill Gove guided me. He took my hand and walked me step by step through the process. Out of thousands of members of National Speakers Association, the first president told me to listen to his short list of people. You know how many people were on that short list out of thousands of people around the world? 20 people. He said, these are the people you're allowed to listen to. No one else. Because this business is owned by this many people in the whole world. They own all the money. And everyone else is a wannabe. They want to be in the business. Nothing wrong with that, right? But most of them will never make it. They hardly even have a chance for a bunch of reasons. And part of that is these myths that are perpetuated. Even 30 years later, they're still talking about these myths. And I don't want you to fall into these traps. So here they are. Here's the top 10. Let's get started. Myth number 1. Speakers' bureaus will book you. Here's the bottom line. They won't. Unless you're doing 60, 70, 80 speeches at pretty high fees. We're talking $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 per speech. If you're doing that, well, then speakers' bureaus might consider you. Of course, if you're doing that many speeches at that high a fee level, why would you ever need a speakers bureau? We have this new thing called the internet now. You don't need a speakers bureau. This is where I'm coming from. I owned a speakers bureau for 15 years. Okay, I understand the business model, booked a lot of speakers, all that stuff. Don't count on speakers bureaus to book you. You don't need speakers bureaus for one, but speakers bureaus basically are like banks. They only want you when you don't need them. You ever try to get a loan from a bank when you have no money? We tried to take out our first loan from a bank in 1986 to buy a bagel factory. Who would want to buy a bagel factory? I don't know. We were stupid kids. My wife and I went to the bank with a plate full of bagels, literally. Great bagels, too, by the way. They were really good. And so we went to the bank. We had no money, and they thought the bagels were great, and they gave us a bagel, zero. They gave us nothing because we didn't have anything. Now, once we've had millions of dollars in the bank, we get calls from the vice presidents of these banks all the time. Hey, how's the business going? How about a $500,000 loan? How about $1 million loan? Oh, now they're our best friend. They can't wait to loan us money, except now we don't need it. Same as speakers bureaus, okay? Speakers bureaus also, second thing you need to know, you won't hear very often, they book what is known in the speaking business as darlings. Speaker bureau darlings. And they book basically, these darlings are the people that they really, really like to book over and over, okay? And there's nothing wrong with any of this, by the way. I'm not putting speakers bureaus down. I was a bureau owner, like I said, for 15 years. This is nothing wrong with this. This is just the way it operates. So you know the backstory, so you know not to waste your time. Unless you really want to become a bureau darling, and that's okay. I don't recommend it. They take 25 to 30% of your money, and they don't understand the back end of the business, which I'll explain in a little bit. So it's not a great model, but if you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with it. A bureau darling is basically the same as a speaker. They book over and over and over. They can count on. The speaker goes to the gig that they book, and they get some cards because people think they're a good speaker, and then they turn the cards over to the speakers bureau, who gets additional business. They call them bureau darlings. Speakers bureaus, typically, you won't hear this probably anywhere else. They book the same speakers, the same 10 or 15 speakers over and over and over and over. There's nothing wrong with that. They just don't tell you that. I've been listening on speakers bureaus for years. I've just never used them because I never really had to. And I think they know that. We make most of the money in this business on the back end. If you're a business person, most speakers are not business people. But if you are, you understand the back end of the business and the front end of the business. And I'll talk about that in a second. In my opinion, bureaus are a waste of time. Use the internet. Market yourself. You don't need them. Okay, myth number 2. You should market yourself to meeting planners. Okay. This is one of those things, again, it was perpetuated, it is perpetuated by so many people. Suck up to meeting planners, talk to meeting planners, send them gifts on their birthday. Here's the bottom line. Most meeting planners are in their 20s. They're women, they're in their 20s. Nothing wrong with this, I'm not putting it down. They have no power. They have no budgets. They're young kids. They see a speaker, they go, oh, I think it's a good speaker. And they tell their boss, who probably doesn't have a budget either. And it doesn't mean you can't get gigs from meeting planners. It just means they're not a group you should be marketing to. You're wasting your time. You're talking to a buyer with no budget and almost no power. You know how many people listen to a 22-year-old meeting planner to book a meeting for 10,000 people? No one. That's who. Okay? But it's perpetuated throughout the industry. Meeting planners are so important. Meeting Planners International, all these things. There's nothing wrong with this, except it's going to waste a lot of your time, okay? I would not waste a minute marketing to a powerless meeting planner. Just my opinion, meeting planners, no offense, I think you're great. I think you got a tough job. You're not in my business. Okay, myth number 3. Motivational speakers dominate the business, okay? The speaking business is known to the outside world mostly with motivational speakers like Zig Ziglar, the late Zig Ziglar, right? And Tony Robbins and Les Brown. And these are all, Zig we lost a few years ago, but Les is still out there, Tony's still out there. And there are a lot of other really good motivational speakers that'll pump you up, okay? And they're very, very good speakers. They're very good at what they do. And there's a bunch of them out there. Okay, not a bunch of super successful ones, but there are a bunch of people trying to be motivational speakers. Understand this about the speaking business in general. It's mostly a business of people who want to be in the business. They literally call them wannabes. And sometimes people see that, they take that as a derogatory term, but it's really not a derogatory term. I mean, we're all wannabes in the beginning. We want to be something, so we try. There's nothing wrong with being a wannabe. But the fact of the matter is most speakers will fail. They will not ever get past the wannabe stage. Oh, they might give a speech here and there. Maybe they get a fee or an honorarium, or they buy some books from them or something like that, and they speak for free because they bought the books or something like that. Again, nothing wrong with this. I'm not putting this down, but that's where most people stop, and that's it. The people that are making big money in this business that are not celebrities, it's this many people. We all know who each other are, and I'm talking worldwide. Non-celebrity, 7 figures is a very, very small group of people. They own the whole business. Okay, I've been in that group for 25 years. I know it very, very well. And so the key to this is motivational speakers, while they're favorites of a lot of people because they're such great speakers, and they are great speakers, because they don't really have any content. What they have is the ability to get people motivated and juiced up and excited. And it's kind of like taking a bath or taking a shower. It lasts for about 20 minutes, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't move the needle in business, but it does kick off a convention or end a convention on a high note. And there is a purpose to motivational speaking. There's certainly nothing wrong with it. If you want to really build a business out of this business, I would not recommend becoming a motivational speaker, okay? Because you get a fee and you're unemployed. You go to another speech, you're unemployed. You go to another speech, you're unemployed. You spend half your life in baggage claim, in hotel rooms, in limos, in cabs, and Ubers, and Lyfts, and all that stuff, waiting to give your 45-minute speech. Most of the time, you're traveling and waiting. That's kind of your life. And it's not a great business model because you get paid when you work, and when you're not on stage, you don't get paid. The really savvy speakers in this business are not motivational speakers. The really savvy speakers in this business are business speakers. Okay, and we'll talk about that as we go forward. If you say, Steve, you're killing my dream. I want to be a motivational speaker, man. I want to be like Tony Robbins. I want people to jump up and down, and I want them to rub each other's shoulders and tell each other how wonderful they are and all that. That's my dream, man. Then do your dream. No problem. Do it. Just understand that there's a limit to what you can do as a business being a motivational speaker, okay? Because it's mostly about emotion, pumping people up and that kind of thing. Again, nothing wrong with it. It takes a set of skills. Motivational speakers tend to be the best speakers in general. They are hard to beat. I followed Les Brown, the black motivational speaker, probably 3 or 4 times. If you've never seen Les Brown, Google him, watch him on YouTube. He's fantastic. He's almost impossible to follow. Really hard. You want to follow Tony Robbins on stage? Really hard to do. You know, there's some really Zig. I followed Zig Ziglar before when Zig was alive. Really hard to follow. These speakers, you know, are phenomenal talent. There's no question about it. It's just a very limited business model. It's not a great business. So if you want to do it, God bless you, go do it. Just know what you're going to get out of it in terms of a business model, okay? But they do not dominate the business. The people that own the money in this business are the business speakers, not the motivational speakers. Why? Because the business speakers solve problems, and that's what people actually pay for. They actually pay for us to solve problems. They don't hire speakers necessarily. They hire smart people who speak. There's a difference. Okay. Number 4, the National Speakers Association will book you to speak. The National Speakers Association, if you don't know, is kind of it's not really the governing body of speaking, but it kind of is the de facto governing body of professional speaking, because there is no governing body. And they've been around for a long time. Again, Bill Gove, you know, my late business partner, was the first president. And I mean, the Bill Gove Workshop, I think 10 of the presidents have gone through the Bill Gove Workshop. So we're pretty integrated. Our organization is pretty integrated with NSA. And it's a good organization, but it is not an organization that will book you to speak. They're not a speakers bureau. They're basically a training ground for people, wannabes, who want to try to get into the business. And in the beginning of the business, it's a very good place to start, because you don't know anything. And as long as you listen to the right people, you can learn something from the National Speakers Association. I was a member for 20 plus years. I headed up the $1 million speakers group, the highest grossing speakers in the world. You know, qualify for that group. It's a very small group. It was always under 50 people when I was a member. Every year I was a member. And so it is a good organization. They're nice people. It's just, you have to understand that they're not going to book you, and it's full of people. Most of the people are not making any money. They're trying to, and that's good. They're trying to. This is not the fault of the National Speakers Association, by the way. Okay, their intentions are good. They're a good organization. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to know that, because no one's going to tell you that up front, that most of these people at these conventions you see and at these meetings and at these chapters all over the country that you see, which I've spoken to almost every one of them over the years, pro bono, to try to help new speakers, they're making no money. I don't care if they're the president. Okay, I don't care if they're the president of the national organization. Very few are making any money. So if you follow them, you probably won't succeed. You have to know who to follow in this business, and the list is very short. Even 30 years after I've started, the list is still short. Okay, so when they say won't book you, it's not what they do, but they are a good organization for general information if you know whom to listen to. All right, myth number 5. The CSP, the Certified Speaking Professional designation. Okay, I'll start with that one. The CSP is an earned designation. I got mine back in, this is the NSA, based from National Speaker Association, or NSA. I got mine back in 2005, and it says that you've done so many speeches for so many fees and that kind of thing. And they build it up to be a very big thing in NSA, and it will not get you a single speech. It might. You might get lucky. Nobody cares if you're a CSP. I've been one for 20 years. I remember with the first 4 or 5 years after I got the CSP, I was making, millions of dollars a year as a speaker, and NSA called me a few times and said, hey, can you do they have Voices of Experience. So that's a program they have that's kind of a promotional thing for members. And they interview top speakers. And they interviewed and they said, how many gigs have you got from the CSP? How many people booked you because you're a certified speaking professional? And I said, none. And they said, I don't think we want to put that on the Voices of Experience on the NSA monthly audio program. And I said, well, you asked me a question. I gave you an honest answer. I don't believe in BS, because if you give people BS, new speakers, they'll never make it. I got BS for the first year before I met Bill Gove. All I heard was nonsense. I didn't know it until Bill told me. But for the first year, I spent $50,000 chasing my tail, listening to people who had no idea what they're talking about. And that's most of the speaking business. Very few people get it. Very, very few people. That's why the number of $1 million speakers in the $1 Million Speakers Group in NSA is this big, because almost nobody gets how to make real money in this business. People can talk, okay, but they don't know how to make money in the business, most people. So to wrap up the CSP, there's nothing wrong with the CSP. I'm proud I got it. It was a lot of paperwork. My wife did most of the work because she did all the paperwork in the office. And so she should probably have gotten the CSP more than me. But it looks good at the national convention when you walk around with your CSP medal, and that's about what it's worth in the marketplace. Okay, we're talking business here. Remember, if you just want to do this for fun and you feel good because you're a CSP and now you're certified as a speaker, God bless you. Go do it. Don't think it's going to make you any money, but there's nothing wrong with it if you just want to. You just want to achieve it, okay? The next one is the CPAE, which they later named the Hall of Fame because no one understood what the hell CPAE meant, okay? Then they called it the Council of Peers for Excellence, what Council of Peers for Excellence? Forget. They've had a few names of this over the years because no one understood what it meant. So finally they started saying, let's call it the Hall of Fame. It'll sound really important. Bill Gove told me this the first year I went to the NSA convention. I saw all these people in the Hall of Fame, and I said, you're in the Hall of Fame? I said, should that be my goal? He said, it's a waste of time. He goes, let me tell you, it works, Steve. I've been here since the beginning. One speaker that's big in NSA does a lot of volunteer work, and they're good speakers and all that stuff. They're nice people, and they nominate each other until they finally get to the point where they can be selected in the Hall of Fame, and then they get each other in the Hall of Fame, and it's very much a buddy system. It means nothing in the marketplace. So let's extend that. Why wouldn't it mean anything in the marketplace? I'm a Hall of Fame speaker. Why would anyone care? See, they don't hire speakers. They hire smart people who speak. They don't care about you being a speaker. They assume you're a good speaker if you say you're a speaker. You're in the Hall of Fame? Great. What does that mean to me? I have problems to solve. Can you help me solve those problems through your speech? Or can you not? I don't care if you're in the Hall of Fame or you're the world champion of Toastmasters or you're the best speaker at your Kiwanis Club. Who cares? I care if you can solve my problem. And if you can, I will pay you a relatively ridiculous amount of money to solve it. That's it. Don't waste your time. Unless, again, now if you're in the Hall of Fame and you walk down the halls of NSA during the national convention and the winter workshop and all these programs they put on, you will be revered. You can wear it like a general wears the medals from war, right? And you can walk around and say, wow, he's in the Hall of Fame, she's in the Hall of Fame. That's what it's worth. So if you want to do that, do it. Nothing wrong with it. Suck up, do whatever you can, volunteer, meet people. It's going to take some years to do it, and you got to be good, okay? But that's what it's basically worth. Financially, zero. Okay. Myth number 6. Writing a book will get you speeches. This is one of the worst ones. This is one of the worst ones. People say all the time, new speakers, people that coach speakers that supposedly know what they're talking about will say, you just write a book. Just write a book. Steve, the book doesn't even have to be good. It just has to be a book. You just have, Steve, it's a business card. All you really do is hand it out to people. They see you have a book and they go, wow. You have a book. Man, you must be really smart. We're going to pay you $20,000 an hour to speak. I'm not even going to read the book. And there's a lot of people that say that too. It's another myth that's that I've been in the business. They say, just write a book. It's all you have to do. BS. It's not true. I've written 13 books. Okay. I've almost never gotten booked from just having a book. I'm not saying having a book isn't good. I wouldn't have written 13 if I didn't think it was a good thing. It's a good thing overall. But if you think it's going to get you speeches, you're kidding yourself. It won't. Okay. Now, maybe you write a book and it sells 10 million copies. Okay, that might get you some speeches. Sure. That's an anomaly. Anomalies always exist in statistics, right? You ever taken a statistics course? That's one of the things they say, right? Anomalies exist. Statistics stand up typically, but anomalies do exist. Things do happen. People actually do get bitten by sharks. It doesn't happen very often. Lightning actually does kill people, some people every year, but it's pretty rare that it happens. Anomalies exist. Same with books. Okay? Don't write a book to get speeches. Write a book to get your process, your ideas, your solutions on paper. So people read the book and go, wow, this guy, this gal is smart. They have some really good solutions in here, and I think I'm going to dig in, maybe Google him or her, get more information, buy a course from her. Maybe we have them speak at some point. But don't write it to get speeches. I hear this all the time. Still people say, well, I have a book, so now I'm going to get booked for speeches. Wrong. You're not. Don't do it for that reason. It's the wrong reason to do it. Okay. Myth number 5. No, myth number, where are we here? Where am I here? 6. Oh, I'm sorry. Myth number 7. Number 7. People will pay you to hear your story. Oh, I know this is going to break so many of your hearts. I know, because for 25 years we've heard in the Bill Groves Workshop, which we've operated all over the world. We've done workshops in 10 countries around the world. We've had offices all over the world that have operated these, as licensees have operated these workshops. And we've had thousands and thousands of people go through the Bill Groves Speech Workshop. And I would say the majority of people come in and we say, why do you want to be a speaker? And they say, I just want to tell my story. And we go, oh, yeah, okay. So do you think people are going to pay you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to hear your story? And they go, yeah, I think so. No. What you need, if you have to tell your story, if you have to get it out because it's burning a hole in you inside, you need a therapist. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be harsh, not trying to beat you up. You need a therapist. You need to go to a therapist and tell them your story and work through it. It's cathartic. It's a good thing. Therapists are very skilled people. You don't do therapy on an audience. No one's going to pay you to do it. Okay? All right? Now, if you just became the first person to ever climb Mount Everest with one arm tied behind your back, and you've been on Good Morning America and the Today Show, maybe someone will pay you to hear your story. But here's the problem with people that just want to tell their story. It doesn't solve a problem. And that, as a buyer, that's what I'm paying for. I want you to solve my problem. And because you're supposed to be really smart and really glib and really good on stage and really charismatic, I'm going to pay you $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 for one speech for 45 minutes to do it. But you got to solve my problem. Otherwise, why would I pay you this unbelievable, relatively unbelievable amount of money? Yeah, I wouldn't, and they don't. Okay? So it doesn't mean, if I'm breaking your heart right now, I'm sorry. It doesn't mean you can't tell your story within a speech, but make sure your story solves a problem somewhere. Because just because you went through a bunch of trauma doesn't mean anything to me. It's your story. I feel for you if it was a bad story. I'm sorry you went through it. It doesn't solve any problem. I'm not going to hire you to do it. It's not commercially viable. You want to remember that. If you want to just go tell your story because you say, hey, I survived cancer. Hey, I went through 3 divorces. Hey, I got my arm cut off playing golf. Okay, you want to tell the story? Go to the Kiwanis Club. Go to the Rotary Club. Go to Lions, Moose, Elks, men's clubs, women's clubs, Daughters of the American Revolution, etc., and do it for free. And you'll probably get a rubber chicken lunch or breakfast or possibly dinner. Okay, you probably won't be able to eat it because you'll be speaking. It's not on there, but you can take it with you. Take it with you. I used to box them up all the time when I did those speeches. Box it up, take it home. Okay, But on the other hand, if you really want to get paid to do this, it's not going to be your story. And I know. Now, you might be saying to yourself, I see all these speaker marketers saying, I'm going to get you on these big stages to tell your story. They're lying to you. Sorry, I've been doing this at the highest level in this business for 30 years. Okay? They're lying to try to sell you something. Nobody cares about your story. I'm sorry. I know that hurts some of you. I'm sorry. They're not going to pay for it. Go do it for free if you want to. Don't expect people to pay. They're not going to. Okay. Myth number 8. We are getting up close to number 10. Number 8. Winning Toastmasters contests will get you booked. Oh, a bunch of you are like, I'm a DTM. I'm an ATM/DTM/ something else. Or even more, I won the speech contest. I'm the International Toastmasters Speech Contest champion. Now, I'm not making fun of this. Those people, I've known a lot of the people that have won. They're really good. For 7 minutes, those speakers are phenomenal. They really are. I mean, I've had them call me over the years, literally, and say, Steve, I'm the champion for 2000 whatever year, 1990, whatever it was. And I think I've seen you speak, I've seen you on tape. And Steve, no offense. I'm not kidding. I've had this conversation at least 10 times over the years. The international champions. They'll say, I beat out 200,000 people in Toastmasters to win this contest, and I have a trophy to prove it. I go, that's great. How can I help you? And they'll say, I've seen you speak. No offense. I think I'm a much better speaker than you. And I say, congratulations. How can I help you? And they say, why are you making millions of dollars and I'm making nothing? And I'm the champion. I'm a better speaker, and I don't understand. And here's what I tell them, the same thing I'm going to tell you, if this is your plan. Companies don't hire people to give Toastmaster speeches. Okay, no matter how dramatic they are, no matter what flair they have, no matter how great their enunciation and how they project to the back of the room and all these grandiose things that help you win a Toastmasters contest, okay? They don't pay for that. You know what they pay for? Solutions. Again, I need my problem solved. I'm the buyer. Can you help me solve my problem? If you can, great. If you can't, I'm not going to hire you. I don't care how many trophies you have. I don't care if you're a CPA Hall of Fame. I don't care if you're a CSP. I don't care what letters you have after your name or who you are. I will not pay you money to do this, okay? Unless you can solve my problem. And they never like the answer. They never liked it. People say, well, I disagree. And I go, great. And I know no one hardly that ever made any money as a Toastmaster champion. A few of these guys, I think, mostly they end up teaching speaking skills and teaching Toastmasters how to speak. There's nothing wrong with this, by the way. I love Toastmasters. Bill Gove won the Golden Gavel. He was my business partner, my best friend, that made my career with me for the first 5 years of my career. I'm a fan of Toastmasters. I know the president. Matt Kinsey is a friend of mine. He was the president last year of Toastmasters International. I've been a friend of mine and a client for 25 years. I love Toastmasters. What they do makes a difference in people's lives, just like NSA does. Okay? There's no question about that. It's determining what these organizations and these designations they deliver, what they can do for your career and what they can't do for your career. They will not book you. It will not make a difference. That doesn't mean they don't have value. It means they're not commercially viable. Remember those two words. If you want to get paid to do this and make millions of dollars, you must be commercially viable, which means you must solve problems or forget it. Okay? You're wasting your time. Okay? All right. Myth number 9. Not being afraid to speak is good enough to get you paid. Yeah, this is another one we've heard at the Bill Gove Workshop over the years of people say, I'm not afraid to speak. I'm the vice president of a $4 billion company. I get up and talk to my people all the time, and I'm not afraid. So therefore, I should be paid to speak. Okay, I'll give you an example. All right, I'll give you a couple examples on this. All right, so back in the day, I was a tennis player. I played junior tennis, and when I was a little kid, I was one of the best junior tennis players in the world when I was 9 and 10 years old, for my age, okay? Well, I went through my career, and I tried to my junior career and college career and played pro tennis for 2 years, and I ended up, my best day, about top 500 in the world, okay? So, there's millions and millions of tennis players. So some people say, well, you were very successful because you made it all the way to the top 500. Here's the problem. Top 500 in the world, not commercially viable. In other words, I went broke. I couldn't make it. So I had to leave the tour. I retired. I retired from the tour. Kind of like I say my pontoon boat is a yacht. It just makes it sound better, But I actually had to because I'm sleeping in my car because my tennis, as good as it was, and it was good compared to most people, compared to the best in the world, not that good. Not commercially viable. And I'll give you one more example that we tell people all the time that kind of makes people mad. Because I was a professional athlete, I can play most sports and play pretty well. Even though I'm 60 years old now, I'm not very fast anymore, but I can still do things like throw a football. I almost dropped it. Throw a football, okay? I can throw a football pretty well. I mean, I've got, athletic ability and all that. And I live outside of Atlanta on Lake Lanier, North Georgia. And so far, as good as I am throwing football, I have 3 or 4 footballs, and I throw them sometimes around my friends and stuff, and I can still throw pretty well. But you know what's crazy about this? I live in Atlanta, only about an hour from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the Atlanta Falcons play, the professional team, the NFL team. They've never called me. Never called me to take the ball and play quarterback. I mean, and last year, their quarterback got hurt, and I'm waiting on for my phone to ring. And no one has called me. You know why? As good as I can throw, guess what? Not commercially viable. As good as I can throw, no one is going to pay me to throw this ball. Oh, there are people that do it. There are people that do it that are that good. They get paid millions of dollars to throw a football like this. Okay? I'm not one of them. Okay? That's what commercial viability is all about. Are you commercially viable as a speaker? It's not because you're not afraid, okay? Not that you're afraid to get paid. Not that you're going to tell your story. Do you have a solution to a problem? The bigger solution you have, the more they pay. That's it. That's called commercial viability. Now, again, if I'm breaking your heart, I'm sorry. If you said, Steve, I feel disillusioned. I mean, I feel like you're destroying my dream. I'm sorry about that. I really am. I'm being honest. I do feel bad about that because you think it's one thing and it's something else. Here's what I want for you. I want you to enter this business with your eyes wide open. Okay? You're going to get bombarded, if you haven't already, with speaker marketers, people threatening. I was going to say threatening. People threatening to put you on stage. People offering, I'll put you on stage. Oh, we'll make you a big speaker. All these things. You know what they never ask about or say anything about? How good you are. It's like people saying, I'll put you, Steve, in the NFL. We can book you on any NFL team you want to. Do they ever ask, how good are you at throwing this football? No, they don't, because they're not selling anything that's actually commercially viable, okay? They're selling nonsense. And they've been out there. When I was in the business, they were out there, and they're out there more. It's more prolific now because of the internet, of course, right? So lots of people making lots of promises, and most of them are full of crap. Sorry, that's the way it works. That's why I'm doing this, because I want you to know I've had my time in this business. I've spoken in front of, hundreds of thousands of people over the years. I've made millions and millions of dollars doing it. I lived every dream I ever had. And now in retirement, semi-retirement at least, I want you to have the same opportunity I had. But if your eyes are half shut and you're getting fed BS all the time, which is big in this business because there's money to be made from feeding people nonsense, you're not going to make it. You have no chance, okay? But that said, if you follow a path, a legitimate path, and you know where the holes are so you don't fall into them, you have a legitimate shot. There's no guarantees. It's a tough business. Make no mistake. Okay? It's like saying I want to be an actor. Going to LA and saying, Hollywood, here I am. Oh, there's about 500,000 people. 500,000 people in LA Metro that want to be actors. And some of them are very good from what I understand. Okay, it's the same in the speaking business. Not quite as large as acting, but most people are trying to be speakers, trying to be actors. Okay, if you know what you're doing and you walk down a path that makes sense and you're commercially viable, you got a shot. You got a legitimate shot. No guarantees, but you got a shot. Okay, all right, and that takes us all the way to the promised land, and that is myth number 10, which is you don't need professional keynote speech training because you're already really good. Yeah, I'm Debbie Downer today, I guess. I don't want to burst your bubble, but if you've never been professionally trained to do a keynote speech that's based almost entirely as a performance, you're kidding yourself that you're good enough, okay? I don't care if you're an actor. I don't care if you're a juggler. I don't care if you're a comedian. Keynote speaking is a different animal completely, okay? It is entertainment based. I don't care what anyone tells you. It is not about information. If keynote speaking was just about what you know, every college professor would be $1 million speaker. You know how many college professors are $1 million speakers? I don't know a single one of them. And I've known hundreds and hundreds that have come through the Bill Gove Speech Workshop over the years, the keynote speech training workshop we do. I've never seen any of them make it because they think it's about information, okay? They think, well, I'm already good enough. I teach classes. Teaching is not keynote speaking. I've done it. I've done $16 million in keynote speeches in my career, okay? Believe me, there's not that many people have done that as a non-celebrity. It is not teaching. If it was teaching, I never would have made $16 million doing it. Okay, it's a performance. I'm not going to go into what the nuts and bolts of keynote speaking, but the bottom line is it is not teaching. It is not acting. It is not comedy. Now, it's a combination. It's a hybrid of many of these disciplines, but it's its own discipline. Get training. Don't kid yourself. I don't care if you want a Toastmasters medal, you're an ATM, DTM, CTM, whatever it is, it makes no difference. This is a different animal. Now, if you think I'm exaggerating, all you have to do is look at how many keynote speakers that are non-celebrities, okay, which is most of us. How many keynote speakers make 7 figures a year? Tiny, tiny group. I would say maybe 50 or 60 in the whole world. Now, I might have just shocked you saying, the whole world? You got to be kidding. 7 figures? That's a lot of keynote speeches, okay? And they're very, very skilled speakers, okay? They are well-trained speakers. Okay, if you don't get professional training, you are hamstringing yourself. Okay, you're trying to make this with one arm tied behind your back. Foolish. I don't care how many people tell you you're a great speaker. Get training, professional training. How do you choose a professional training course? Of course, we run the Bill Gove workshop. We don't run the actual workshop anymore. We have it online. We have an online course. You can go to speechworkshop.com if you want to check it out. Are there others? Yes. Here's what you ask them when you decide which one you want to go to. Who's a graduate of your program that's made $1 million a year, that's making $1 million a year? We have over 80 people right now that have made over $1 million a year as our graduates, okay? There's no course like it. You can look it all up. Don't take my word for it. But so the Bill Gove Workshop is the top of the world. It's been out since 1947. Okay, I'm not going to do a whole commercial because that's not the point of this. But speechworkshop.com, check it out. Get professional training. Make sure it's legitimate professional training. I see some of these things online. I've never heard of these people, okay, that are teaching it. But make sure you do your due diligence. But get training. Don't go out there and think amateur skills will make you professional money. It won't. I promise you. I've done this for 30 years. Okay, you can do this, but you've got to be commercially viable, and that's kind of how I want to wrap this up as we go forward. You got to be commercially viable. Think about the football. This is what people always remember. For some reason, I've been telling this story for years. No one is going to pay me to throw the ball, even though I'm pretty good. Okay, I can throw a football probably better than 99% of the people right now in the country, but that 1%, they're the ones that get paid. Well, less than 1%, right? But no one's going to pay. I'm just not that good. But there are people that are that good. It's the same as speaking, okay? It's the same as speaking. Okay, so let's go forward because this is what I recommend that you do. Because you say, well, Steve, you're telling me all the things I shouldn't do, all the pitfalls, okay? So what is the secret to building $1 million business? You told me everything not to do, everything that won't work. I feel like I'm going to jump off a bridge right now. And don't jump, okay? Stay on the bridge. You can always jump later, but not now, okay? Don't jump yet. Let me give you some good news, okay? Because there is a path. There's a success path here, okay? What's the secret to building $1 million business? This is a book an author named Elliot Saltzman wrote about my career about 12 or 13 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was. Okay, so I'm going to give you the path on how to do this. You need to create a custom blueprint for your business, a business plan. Now, if you're a business person, you go, Steve, business plans, I'm an entrepreneur, business plans are second nature to me. If you're an employee that's never written a business plan for the purpose of getting a loan from a bank or an institution, that's a whole process in itself, okay? We're sort of a mini business plan. You need a blueprint, a real blueprint that's commercially what? Commercially viable. Okay, we're talking about making money, not having a hobby. If you want a hobby, start a stamp collection. You want to build $1 million speaking business or even a six-figure business, you need a blueprint, a custom blueprint. And here's the custom part, okay? The custom part is there is no one else as a speaker like you. Not with your background, not with your experiences, not with your stories, not with your solutions. You're totally unique. And if you're not, you need to be. Okay? So you need a custom blueprint. Just a general blueprint as a speaker is typically not enough. You want someone to give someone your information and say, here's who I am, here's my background, here's my solutions, here's my belief system, here's my points of view, etc. It goes on from there. Someone that knows this business really, really well and can say, okay, let me take all the variables in this equation, just as an architect draws a blueprint. What do? They take all the variables in an equation and then they put it on a drawing. That's what architects actually, they say, oh, there's a building here, well, there's a bathroom here, there's a hallway here. They take all these things and they build a blueprint. They draw an actual blueprint. That's what these people do that draw blueprints for speakers. It's all custom because there's only one you with your equation, with the variables in your specific personal equation, okay? So here's what I'm going to recommend. The Speaker Architect, okay, who's booked over $50 million in speeches. 50 million, okay, launched over 1,000 speaking careers, many in the 6 and 7 figures, okay? Dawn Andrews. Dawn has done this for our company since 1999. Bill Gove and I, my late business partner, hired Dawn in 1999. She learned the business from Bill and all of the people all the mentors we had. We had all the best mentors, of course, in the business because Bill was the father of the industry. And as soon as we got in business with Bill, Dawn, myself, and anyone in our office could get any speaker in the world on the phone. Anyone on the phone. Because of Bill, who he was. He was the patriarch of the industry worldwide. Okay, so Dawn learned the business from the best of the best. And when she started building custom blueprints in 1999 for speakers, including for me, okay, things started to really happen because all those initial blueprints in the first 5 years were overseen by the biggest names in this business. And so she got very, very, very good at this, okay? She can take the variables in your situation and build a blueprint so custom, literally, that to be commercially viable in this business, all you would have to do is go step by step by step and don't miss any steps. Just follow what she tells you to do in the blueprint. And again, nothing in life is guaranteed, as you know, but you got a hell of a chance to make it if you have a custom blueprint. Okay, if you're out there flying willy-nilly, you're kidding yourself. It just doesn't, this business is too difficult for that. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to have someone guiding you if you're new. Okay, if you're not new and you know all the stuff, you're probably a successful speaker. But if you're not, the speaker architect, we call her the architect around here, but she's the speaker architect, and Dawn can help you do this. Okay, so book a call today. Now, Dawn charges over $1,000 for these calls, okay? She doesn't do that many anymore. She's semi-retired just like I am, but she does some. But because you're watching this, all you have to do is say, I watched the live program on social media, and I want my free call. She will do a free call and a free blueprint for you for nothing. You have nothing to lose, okay? We have never done this before, by the way. Never given free blueprints out. $1,000 a pop, typically, or a little more, depending on the person, okay? You're going to get it for free, all right? All you have to do is reference this live, and you'll get a free blueprint from Dawn, okay? Chance of a lifetime. Okay, so to wrap up, I just want to say I want to thank you guys again for joining us for this live. I want to encourage you to get in this business. I didn't tell you the myths to discourage you. I told you the myths so you wouldn't fall in these holes that I've watched speakers fall into for 30 years and never made it, and they're still trying 30 years later to break in. I know way more of those people, okay, than I did anyone that I started out with 30 years ago that actually made it. Very few people do because of all these pitfalls that get in the way and all the nonsense that's perpetuated, throughout this, especially throughout the internet about this business. Okay, so thanks for joining us. Contact us if you want your free blueprint, and I wish you the very best of luck.